The year is 2025. Donald J. Trump once again occupies the Oval Office. His victory in the 2024 presidential election deepened political divides. This marks the beginning of his second, non-consecutive presidency. The nation braces for sweeping changes. From immigration to taxation and international relations, Trump's administration is poised to leave its mark. One of the cornerstones of Trump's political identity has been his stance on immigration. His 2024 campaign was no different, with promises to further tighten border security and implement stricter immigration policies. These policies, however, have raised significant concerns among immigrant communities and advocacy groups. Trump's pledge to initiate the largest deportation operation in U.S. history has sent chills down the spines of many. This operation, according to his campaign promises, would initially target undocumented immigrants with criminal records. However, the scope of these deportations could extend to a much broader population, potentially impacting families with mixed immigration statuses and long-term residents who have built lives in the U.S. The potential revival of the 2018 family separation policy, which led to the separation of thousands of migrant children from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border, is another major concern. This policy, widely condemned by human rights organizations, could resurface in some form, adding to the anxieties of immigrant families. Furthermore, the legal status of individuals granted parole under the Biden administration, particularly those from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, remains uncertain. Trump's administration could potentially revoke their parole, subjecting them to detention and deportation proceedings. This move would likely trigger humanitarian concerns and diplomatic tensions with the countries involved. While specific details remain scarce, Trump has hinted at significant changes to the U.S. tax code. These changes, he argues, will boost the American economy and benefit working-class Americans. However, critics argue that these policies primarily favor corporations and wealthy individuals, exacerbating income inequality. One of the most discussed proposals is the elimination of taxes on Social Security benefits. While this move might seem beneficial for seniors, it raises concerns about the long-term solvency of the Social Security program, a crucial safety net for millions of Americans. Without alternative revenue streams, the program could face significant shortfalls in the future. Another key element of Trump's tax plan is a reduction in corporate taxes. This move, he claims, will stimulate economic growth and create jobs. However, critics argue that it will primarily benefit large corporations and their shareholders, with little trickle-down effect on the broader economy. This could further widen the gap between the wealthy and the middle class. The potential economic impact of these tax reforms is a subject of intense debate. Supporters point to the potential for increased investment and economic activity. However, critics warn of ballooning deficits, increased national debt, and a potential downgrade of the U.S. credit rating. The long-term consequences of these tax policies remain to be seen. Trump's return to the White House has cast a shadow over U.S.-Canada relations. His previous tenure was marked by trade disputes, renegotiations of the North American Free Trade Agreement, and often tense interactions with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, the successor to NAFTA, could once again become a point of contention. Trump has expressed dissatisfaction with certain aspects of the agreement and might seek to renegotiate terms more favorable to the U.S. This could lead to renewed trade tensions and uncertainty for businesses operating across the border. Furthermore, Trump's focus on America First policies, particularly in areas like energy and trade, could put further strain on the traditionally close relationship. Canada, heavily reliant on trade with the U.S., might find itself at odds with its southern neighbor on issues ranging from tariffs to environmental regulations. Despite potential areas of friction, both countries have a vested interest in maintaining strong economic and security ties. The long, undefended border, integrated supply chains, and shared values create a strong foundation for cooperation. However, navigating this relationship will require careful diplomacy and a willingness to compromise on both sides. Section 5. The Dragon and the Eagle. Navigating the U.S.-China relationship. The U.S.-China relationship, already complex and fraught with tension, is likely to be a defining feature of Trump's second term. His previous administration engaged in a trade war with China, imposing tariffs on billions of dollars worth of goods. This approach, while intended to protect American jobs and intellectual property, had significant economic repercussions on both sides. Trump's return could signal a continuation of this confrontational approach. He has repeatedly criticized China's trade practices, accusing it of unfair competition and intellectual property theft. A renewal of the trade war, with its accompanying tariffs and economic uncertainty, could have global implications, impacting supply chains and hindering economic growth. Beyond trade, the US and China are at odds on a range of issues including Taiwan, human rights, and cybersecurity. Trump's policies in these areas could further escalate tensions, potentially leading to a more adversarial relationship between the two superpowers. However, despite the potential for conflict, both countries recognize the need for some level of engagement. Cooperation on issues such as climate change, nuclear non-proliferation, and global health security is essential for global stability. Finding a balance between competition and cooperation will be a major challenge for both sides. Section 6. Between cooperation and competition, the US and India. India, with its growing economy and strategic importance in the Indo-Pacific region, occupies a unique position in Trump's foreign policy calculus. His previous administration saw a deepening of US-India ties, particularly in the areas of defense and security cooperation. This trend of closer collaboration is likely to continue under Trump's second term. Both countries share a common interest in countering China's growing influence in the region. India, facing its own border disputes with China, views the US as a crucial security partner. However, the relationship is not without its complexities. Trade disputes, particularly over tariffs and market access, have been a recurring issue. Trump's America First approach and his focus on reducing trade deficits could lead to friction with India, which seeks greater access to the US market for its goods and services. Despite these challenges, the US-India relationship is poised for further growth. Shared democratic values, a burgeoning Indian diaspora in the US, and converging strategic interests provide a strong foundation for cooperation. How these two democracies navigate their differences while capitalizing on areas of convergence will be a key determinant of their future relationship. Section 7. A World Asunder, Trump's Impact on Global Ties. Trump's return to the global stage has sent ripples of uncertainty across the international community. His America First rhetoric, coupled with his unpredictable foreign policy decisions, has led to concerns about the future of multilateralism and the global order. Trump's skepticism towards international organizations, such as the United Nations and NATO, has been well documented. He has criticized these organizations for being ineffective and for placing undue burdens on the United States. Under his leadership, the US could further retreat from its global commitments, weakening the international institutions that have underpinned global stability for decades. Furthermore, Trump's transactional approach to foreign policy, often prioritizing bilateral deals over multilateral agreements, could undermine global cooperation on pressing issues such as climate change, pandemics, and nuclear non-proliferation. His disregard for traditional alliances and his tendency to alienate allies have raised concerns about the US's ability to effectively address global challenges. The potential consequences of Trump's foreign policy are far-reaching. A more isolationist United States could create a vacuum in global leadership, emboldening authoritarian regimes and increasing the likelihood of conflict. The international community faces a period of uncertainty and readjustment as it grapples with the implications of Trump's return to power. Section 8. The Uncertain Future Challenges and Opportunities. The return of Donald Trump to the White House marks a pivotal moment in American history. His policies, both domestic and foreign, will impact the nation's trajectory and global standing. Predicting the future is impossible, but understanding potential challenges and opportunities is crucial. Trump faces the task of uniting a deeply divided nation. His rhetoric has exacerbated political polarization, creating mistrust and animosity. Bridging this divide is essential for the nation's well-being. Economically, Trump inherits an economy grappling with inflation and supply chain disruptions. His policies could exacerbate these challenges, leading to further economic uncertainty. Internationally, Trump's return injects unpredictability into the global order. His America First approach creates anxieties among allies and adversaries alike. Navigating this complex geopolitical landscape requires deft diplomacy and international cooperation. Despite the challenges, Trump's second term presents opportunities for progress. His focus on economic nationalism could revitalize American manufacturing and create jobs. His tough stance on China could recalibrate the US-China relationship, leading to a more balanced economic playing field. Section 9. Conclusion: America at a crossroads. The United States is at a crossroads as Trump begins his second term. His policies will impact America and the world. Stricter immigration enforcement raises humanitarian concerns. Tax reforms may increase income inequality. His foreign policy creates global uncertainty. Decisions now will shape America's future.